Hey everyone, and welcome out to episode 94 of Nerd Name Mark Podcast. Boop. Uh, Vastly approaching 100, 6 episodes away. Uh, at the time of this, like while I'm recording this, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you get a video. If you're listening to this on your podcasting listening choice, hey, welcome back. Um, so at the time of doing this, episode 94, I have 95 already done. If you haven't already, the Loop Bros podcast, I was on there. Me and Daryl sat down real quick, just me and him, hashed out our thoughts and our reviews and conversations on Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm going to be putting it up because we have some bleed through of the same audience, but we also have different demographics, different audiences. With the Loop Bros being video game heavy, and every once in a while having some specials. He also has it on the 2236 podcast, which is his like Resident Evil horror like podcast. We have different audiences, but we have some overlap from just years of being in the same space, having the same friends, working together, and running in the same circles. So I'm going to be putting that up on mine. I just because it was a Patreon exclusive for them, so letting them have it as a. He was nice enough actually to give. I'm not letting them. He was nice enough. He's like, hey, I'll give you the audio if you want. And I'm like, cool, but I'm gonna let you guys. It's Patreon, this and that. Keep it up there. I'll put it up on my feed down the road. So that's gonna be 95. I also have my own breakdown, full, just me deep diving on my own into Resident Evil, which will be going up on the Nerd Name Mark Reviews RSS feed, as well as here on YouTube. That was a lot of fun to record. Uh, it definitely was a movie. And I think after, because when me and Dale recorded, it was like maybe a day or so after we saw it, maybe 2 days. And I got to sit down, digest a bit. Um, Actually went back and watched the first Resident Evil from Paul Anderson. And I was like, oof, okay. Definitely now have, more less emotionally charged and just first reactions to it. I got to actually like think about it and like digest it before. So that's 95 coming down the pipeline. The road to 100 is honestly like it's not easy running a solo podcast. Anyone who does it knows it's not easy. It's not I don't want to say it's not fun. It's just there's more to it. Like I don't have someone else on here to feed off of and bounce, conversation with. It's me just talking, and it's at times it's tough because I don't have an ego. I'm not like this like okay, I'm important. I know, like, everyone wants to hear what I have to say. It's like, no, dude. Like, when there were times when the podcast dropped to like single digit listeners, and I was just like, man, I don't know, should I stop? Like, but then I realized it's not easy being a solo podcast host. Without guests and this and that, I can't do like a 2 hour podcast or an hour and a half. And I could talk and ramble for hours if it's like just a top, but at the same time that's just conversations or ranting. When it's a podcast, it's like no, there has to be more structure to it. I can't just here, let me ramble for an hour and just throw it online. Here you go, here's my episode, enjoy. No, that's not how it works. um so the fact that I'm approaching 100 episodes and I still have the audience that I do, and I get the feedback to it. Like I appreciate everybody. Like this is crazy, especially with all the other projects I'm working on. I mean, the Internet Market Reviews RSS feed is just, they're bite-sized episodes. They're like no longer than like 12, 15 minutes at most. And, I do have the Talkin' Toku with my friend Scott. And while that's kind of delayed and behind, that's, just a lot going on with the YouTube channel. And one of the topics, like Twitch, after 9 months of not streaming, I started streaming back on Twitch again, just because I'm finding that balance now, and it's it feels good. It feels good to have that balance and have more control, structure in my life. I think last year through a last year in like the first 2 months of this year kind of had a big wrench in my in life, just from the standpoint of everything was so, I had my routine, I had everything going, the way it needed to, like timing what work, consistent schedule, knew when I knew my schedule every week, you know, and I knew how much money I was going to make. And then when I decided to start the podcast, I always started the podcast in 2019 in July, and I was like, that's because everything was finally at the point, the chips were laying where they needed to be to do everything. And then that thing happened last year. But now that, and Mixer shutting down everything else, and this is beating a dead horse, but for anyone who's new, hasn't listened to the older episodes, listen to that, I love streaming on Mixer. It kind of got me back into content creating. So I wasn't doing anything. After I left the Trophy Horse podcast, I wasn't doing anything for content creating. I stopped writing about video games. I stopped going to conventions as press or media. I stopped, I wasn't streaming. I stopped everything. And I just went back to what I knew and what I loved. I played video games for fun. I got back into I was still collecting comics, but I got more heavily into that and reading comics and just watching movies and like not stressing about, okay, I got to review these 3 games this week and then I got to cover press releases. And I didn't, not doing any of that for a majority of 2018 and just focusing on, work and my personal life and my hobbies and not doing anything major. The only thing I was doing was if it was conventions, I was working with charities and, like Extra Life, Operation Supply Drop, or I was helping out with different companies, whether it was Streamlabs at TwitchCon 2019 while still helping with Extra Life, or, Extra Life at San Diego Comic Con, or like Operation Supply Drop at E3. And then, you know, that was kind of like me finding my footing outside of being a video game journalist and a content creator. And then I got to meet a lot of wonderful people who were content creators and seeing what they were doing and talking to them and having conversations and hearing them be like, why aren't you creating content? You stopped. Like, you're a nice person, well spoken, you got the knowledge and the skill. And as well as this was like burnt out. I started doing this shit in like 2006. It is, I'm tired. I'm old and I'm tired. So, after getting everything situated in the last 2 years, like I did go to Twitch last year. I got affiliate. Like I went back to Twitch anyways for streaming. Got affiliate in like a month. Like I hit the third, like by like 35 days in a return to Twitch, hit affiliate. So I stopped streaming 9 months ago because I got back to work. And I was like, okay, if I'm going back to work, my free time is going to revolve around my podcast. The podcast is always number one priority. Second to that is YouTube. And then third to that, and this is just from a content creating standpoint, not like my full everything in my life. Obviously, my podcast isn't the number one most important thing in my life. Uh, Someone would be mad if it was. So, yeah, it's just, I went back to my first Twitch stream was today, 9 years, after 9 months, because I had my 1 year notification. That was my 1 year of hitting affiliate. And I was like, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna stream really quick. I don't I don't want to just stream video games. And I think streaming has evolved, and I know I brushed briefly on the topic with certain metas on Twitch and this and that, but I wanted to just like stream something chill and fun. And games I focus so much on when I play that I can't really interact and have these conversations, and that's what I want. So I was actually streaming building nano blocks. Yeah, I know, right? And I built 3 of them. I built Raditz, Vegeta, and Master Roshi. That was cool. And then I was gonna build one of my Kamen Rider figurized kits. I was gonna build Deno, but I ended up not because got into a conversation with a viewer, Kaiju Carl, who has a Tokudan podcast. Go check it out. He's also Kaiju Carl on Twitter and on YouTube, so you can check out the video versions of his podcast. I love it. It's so good. Like, if you even slightly moderately tolerate my podcast, you'll love his podcast, especially if you like Toku. So just chit chatting, ended up going over like Sotos and mini plas and this and that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm gonna order some Uber Eats, and then I'm going to eat the food, and maybe I'll jump back on a stream. But that was like 3 hours ago, and so I ended up just eating my Uber Eats, and then yeah, no, that's about it. So yeah, it was kind of cool to get back into streaming on Twitch. I'm not gonna do it full time. I'll never. I don't think I could ever be a full time content creator. It just isn't. It isn't my personality. Like, I'm generally a really quiet, reserved, and private person where I need the time to myself. Like, I will never be able to be fully transparent on social media because you have to keep something for yourself. I keep, like, I've learned over the years, and maybe because of my age, I keep my relationship stuff off of social media because that's private. Facebook is different, but like Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that, I'm not gonna be the type that's ever gonna post every intimate moment in my life, every little thing that's, you know, personal. Like, even with the passing of our cat, like, I didn't really, other than like a tweet, and then just, saying, hey, this is why my content's not going to come out this week, this and that, this is what's going on, and that was it. Like, I kept a lot of that to myself. I didn't post, tons of photos on social media being like I'm sad. Didn't do like snaps or any of that stuff or Facebook. It's just like, hey, like, now my significant other did, but we're both different in that case. Like, I just, I'm just like a really private person, so I could never do content creating full time, like streaming 5 6 days a week for hours on end, or you know constantly pumping out video. Like, I barely have the time to put out the content that I do now. Like, the amount of videos that are coming out now is probably the most that I'm gonna do. Mainly because a lot of them are easy. Like, the nanoblock videos are what, 3 minutes each, 4 minutes each at most. My reaction reviews to Common Rider, about 16, 18 minutes. That's after editing like a 30-minute video. But and then the podcast. Now, there are other projects I'm working on right now that are a little high budget and a lot more production value. It's just those are long-term projects. Like, I'm working on two different documentaries right now. One actual full like feature length documentary, and then a series style, and season one of that. And like, I work on a lot of stuff to when I have free time, and I chip away at it. And that's why every once in a while you'll hear me talk about, hey, like, I'm working on another show, I got some other stuff. None of this stuff is even out yet. Like, but it's something I'm working on. Because I want the quality to be there, and I'm gonna put the effort and the time into it, which is why, like, my cryptid, um, my cryptozoology, show I want to do. I'm almost done with season one, but I've been working on that for a year. And that's because I want the value of it, and I don't want to start a project. Like, I know a lot of people who do video series and that, they'll just put out the first episode and then crunch to get the second episode out, like, a week or 2 weeks later. I'd rather get everything done, get all of season one done, and then have it all just like fully, like, meticulously edited, and then uploaded as like scheduled, and have it just auto go out into the internet over time, rather than, oh, let me put out one episode. Oh crap, I gotta start working on episode two right now, and crunch, crunch, crunch. Especially with certain things you want to research, like cryptozoology. Had to do a lot of research on that. That's not easy, and especially because so many people do those things. Like, I've noticed a rise in like conspiracy theory, true crime, and cryptozoology podcasts, and you have to do something that's going to set you apart. And for me, what I wanted to do was the quality, whether it's the audio quality, whether it's editing style, or how it's presented. I just wanted to be different. So that's why that's been literally, I started working on that last October, and it was kind of an accident. I was doing the Halloween month like I do every year, and I just mentioned a creature, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And then I brought it up on another episode. I was talking about how, like, yeah, no, I had this idea for a show about cryptozoology, this and that. And I started planning it out, and I have all these Google Docs just filled with like all the research, source material, references. I went through and made sure if I needed anyone's like stuff they used or this and that, I got the right permissions and the forms, and I had to go through like legal Zoom to make sure that every like fair use, copyrights, and like all this because like I wanted to make sure that it was solid and you know also presented in a way where it was entertaining. So there would be some over fabricate, like over embellishment of how it's presented, but obviously not the facts. Facts are facts, except for cryptozoology, because some of it's mythos, but that's besides the point. But yeah, so now, with the time of growing like content, like that's why I was like Twitch. Okay, I will stream maybe twice a week for 3 hours. 6 hours a week. I could dedicate 6 hours a week, 6 hours out of 7 days. So you know, that's not bad. That is like it's all about timing and moderation. Like I don't want like if I increase it, cool, but I could never do it full time. And I talked to a lot of my friends, and I have friends who stream like 3 days a week. I've streamed friends who stream 6, 7 days a week, almost every day. And I'm like, how? How do you have the time? Because I don't. Like, I really don't. And so I was like, even if I had the time, like, now I get it. You're building a community, you're talking to people, so you're having fun and this and that. But I would be bored. I would be bored just sitting like this, talking. Like, I don't know. I just maybe it's because like I just from I can't do long like interactions with people. Because I run out of things to say. And even with my family, like I'll call, see how everyone's doing, and like after like 15 minutes, I'll be like, I don't know what else to say. Like I'm very cut and dry. Like I'm quick to the point. Here's what's going on. But then I'll talk like if I'm talking to one of my friends, my best friend actually, who does all my logos, my design work. Like we'll have like a 2 to 3 hour conversation, but we're just talking like movies, TV shows, catching up, and it's like eh, once every other week, because I do live 3,000 miles away from like my family, all my friends I grew up with. I have friends out here and on the West Coast, this, that, but it's like different than it's people who's known you for like, over 30 years. So I will just be like, we'll have long drawn out conversations, but it's different. We're talking about entertainment, we're talking about all these other things, but like it's just a regular personal conversation one on one. No, I can't do it for more than like 20 minutes. And I'm like, all right, you got enough information out of me today. I'm going to leave. But yeah, so all that was a long drawn out way of me saying, hey, I started streaming on Twitch again because I have more time and I feel like I'm finding that balance in life. Like I feel happier. I feel a lot better about life and where things are headed and where things are even currently. It's been a while since I felt like this. For those who listen to a lot of my podcasts, you'll know, like, last year, especially with, I can't, because I'm putting on YouTube, so I got to be careful what I say, because of the quarantine and the pandemic. I did fall into a rut, got really depressed, got unhealthy, really out of shape, and it came across in the podcast. And it was noticeable even to me when editing. Like I could hear it in my voice that I was just like deflated. And I will say like now recently, like this is the best I've felt since like basically 2019. Like in the last, almost 2 years. Like this is the best I felt. I mean, you know, between a good balance of work and my personal life and everything else going on, like I feel great. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna add one more thing I'm working on, which is why I did decide Twitch, because I tried a YouTube stream. No offense to YouTube, but streaming on YouTube is weird. It just is. So I was like, it's not for me. Maybe down the road I'll try it again. But I was like, I'm familiar with Twitch. I'm using Streamlabs. I have everything set up, so why not? And yeah, so that was kind of fun. It's always weird when you like return to something that you like left for a while, because I when I started streaming on Twitch and then I stopped streaming on Twitch, I didn't really miss streaming. But like when Mixer was taken away, because they shut down, it was taken away from me. I actually missed streaming. Like I didn't stream for like almost like 6 7 months. I was like testing the waters, like Facebook Live, Facebook Gaming and stuff, Trovo and stuff like that. But like I didn't miss any of it. I missed Mixer though. I really did. And then going to Twitch, I was like, okay, I guess I'll return to Twitch. I haven't streamed on Twitch in like a really long time. Let me see how that goes. So I started streaming on Twitch, and I was just like, okay, this is fun. I streamed in October and November, December a decent amount, and then a little bit in January. Then I got back to work, and then around February I was like, all right, I'm back at work full time, and I had the podcast, and I'm about to start doing YouTube stuff. So you know what? I'm done. I'm not gonna stream anymore. And that whole entire 9 months, I didn't miss streaming on Twitch at all. I didn't miss Twitch. I still went into like my friend's Twitch streams and that, but like I didn't miss creating content on that platform. Whereas Mixer, I missed that platform. I missed creating content there. It like broke my heart to have to leave Mixer. And Twitch, I didn't have that. But then today, streaming on Twitch, I was like, I found myself thinking I missed streaming on Twitch, and I was like, I didn't think that would have been the case. So yeah, it was really really weird, but I'm happy. Like I'm gonna be streaming again. Like, well, this doesn't matter when this goes live. You don't even know, but I streamed today, and tomorrow I'm gonna stream too for just 3 hours. Like I streamed like 2 hours and like 50 minutes, and it was fun. But yeah, that's my spiel for the episode so far. There wasn't really a main topic this week. I didn't get any comic books yet, so that's kind of I did get some new merch. Yeah, that's right. That's the Kamen Rider Gamer Driver from Kamen Rider X-Aid with the bang bang shooting gashat. Uh, okay, so not gonna lie, I love this little driver so much. Uh, the funny story is like I'm still collecting drivers. I can't help it. It's it's the one thing like from a collector's standpoint that's kind of like everyone is different and unique and all the different gimmicks for them. Like I have another gimmick for it right here, which is the Tattle Quest, and I was like, these things are cool. Like I like these, and just put them right in there, and it's actually I just love the driver, and it's one I wanted. I'm gonna be doing a video going over where I get a lot of my Kamen Rider stuff because I've been getting a lot of questions about where I get a lot of my merch, whether like in person or online. And a lot of people do like tutorials on how to order from shops, but no one ever just goes to a whole entire list of like, here's the best places to get stuff for the price. Here's the best place to go for specific things. I buy a lot of merch. So obviously, it's probably good for me to do a video about it. I got some other stuff too, but that's besides the point. But yeah, no comics. Just got some new merch. I got that stuff. I finished my nano blocks. I got more stuff on the way from Amazon Japan and regular Amazon and Mercari. So I don't really have a lot of stuff to talk about from comics and merch and this and that. That's why I was like, I'm not going to really make a whole topic for the episode this week. Like I don't really have. I don't want to say I don't have much to say. It's just from the standpoint of sometimes I don't have a main topic. Like, so I figure the main gist of this episode is me returning to stream on Twitch. And yeah. So I'm trying to think. I have such a freaking headache right now. Probably energy drinks probably not helping either. But this is the zero sugar watermelon Monster energy drink. It's delicious. Um, so I've been playing games. Still playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because I got it on the Switch for Black Friday. Um, Even though I beat that game on PC so many times, like just destroyed it, it's running so smooth on the Switch. Like I am genuinely like enjoying this game. Like it is good. And I will say that I'm still playing Brilliant Diamond. I've been chipping away at that. I don't want to get burnt out on Pokemon games because I can get burnt out really easily. So I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. So I've been still chipping away at the Pokédex in Brilliant Diamond. I need one more badge that I can go to the Elite Four. And that's been, a lot of fun. I love, like, I'm hoping we get um, more older gens brought over like that. I mean, yeah, cool if they do the virtual console and you can play the old school ones on that way. But like, I don't mind if they put the effort in and just give us the remakes or remasters like that because they're actually really enjoyable. And it's kind of nice to see these crisp, clean, vibrant colors and graphics in a Pokemon game. That's one of the issues I had with Sword and Shield. It didn't have that pop to it with the colors, whereas Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, ooh, the colors, the palettes, everything, so good. Really enjoyable. Other than that, I still am slightly dabbling in the Halo Infinite multiplayer. But I'm prepared for next week with Halo Infinite's campaign drops. That is like the main thing I want. Like I just want to play the campaign. I've been a fan of the multiplayer at this set, but I haven't played the multiplayer since like 3. So I usually play those for the campaign. It's kind of like how I am with Battlefield. Like Battlefield I'll play online, but I really play those for the campaign. Same with Call of Duty. Call of Duty I'll play the campaign. Sometimes I won't even touch online multiplayer for it. Like I just don't, it just doesn't appeal to me. So, Halo Infinite, definitely excited for it. Still, uh, I don't know what it is. I'm already tired of Forza Horizon 5. And I don't know why, because it's such a good game. It looks amazing. I've installed it on the console and on Game Pass for PC. And it's like, I I don't know. It's a great game. I just don't want to fucking play it like at all. Like I don't know why. Like I shouldn't. I have no reason to not want to play it. It looks amazing. It's a racing game. Pick up and play, run a couple races, and that's it. Forza Horizon 5, amazing, great game. I'd put it in one of my top releases of the year. I just don't want to freaking load it up and play it, and I don't know why. And it confuses me so much. Like I'm just like, why don't I want to play this game? Don't know. I have no idea why. Um, with that being said, though, that's really it for games. Like, I mean, I'm still dabbling on the mobile games on my phone. Let's face it, I'm never gonna quit those. I'm still playing W Supercard, and that's really it, actually. Yeah, I'm only playing W Supercard actually. I have a lot of games installed. Am I playing them now? Like the My Hero World Strongest, it's a turd now. It's a turd sandwich that I don't want to play. Even though I'm wearing my Apple Watch, I do still have my Digimon Vital Bracelet here. I was gonna make some content going over a lot of the dim cards and evolutions and Digi evolutions and stuff like that, but like they just released the Vital Bracelet for Ultraman in Japan. Anyone who knows me knows I like Ultraman a little bit, and I ordered one. And I got the bundle with the Ultraman Zero dim card. But then the worst thing is, in like 2 weeks, we're getting a Common Rider one also. And I'm like, well, and they all work with the same bracelet. Well, Digimon ones are separate. They have their own bracelet set. But the Ultraman and Common Rider ones, they use the same bracelet. And I was like, but if I don't get the bracelet for Kamen Rider, I don't get the Kyuga dim card. So I'm like, well, I gotta get that bracelet. Like, how else am I gonna get this? I got to get the Ultraman one to get Ultraman Tiga. So I'm like, well, I don't have that many wrists for all these freaking vital bracelets. Like, so I'm probably going to have to I might have to retire one of them. Um, Luckily, because the Ultraman and Kamen Rider ones are on the same bracelet, that's one. But I don't need an Apple Watch and two Vital bracelets, so I may have to, for the time being, until Lopmon Dim Card comes out next year, I may have to retire the Digimon Vital bracelet just for the time being. You know, like not permanently. Like I'm still gonna keep it around. I still have some dim cards I need to actually register with it, but I think just because I love Digimon, like Digimon is still one of my favorite animes. I attribute Digimon the anime to a lot of where I am today as not only just a collector but a fan of a lot of things. Like liking Digimon was like the gateway to other anime and other types of games like Monster Rancher. And then that, all those led into like trigger like Metabots and this that. So like there's this domino effect that Digimon started for me. And I attribute a lot of like the friends I made that I'm still friends with to Digimon. Because when Digimon first came out, before there was a show, before there was an anime and a card game, there were just, all right, you know what? This is not effective because I don't know where it is. And this does not help the situation at all because my shelves are a mess and disorganized. Yeah, I have no clue where it is because everything is a mess. And I swear I'm not this messy. I'm really not. Just, I don't know. Okay. For those of you who are listening, you're going to be very confused, but I'm not frantically. Frantic is not the right adjective for this situation. I am casually perusing my shelves of all my collectibles because I have a Digivice. So the point I'm trying to make is the Digivice. When the Digivice came out, before there was a show, before there was a card game, before there was anything, um, there was a Digivice, a little Tamagotchi thing, but you could had little sensor things on the top, and you could connect two of them and battle your friends. And to age myself here, when the Digivices came out, I was in sixth grade. I was 11, turning 12 years old, and you know, I'd do a class, little breaks here and there, be like, in between classes, be like, oh yeah, I got my Digimon. I have Greymon. Or even some of them you didn't even know the names. I was like, dude, I got this dinosaur T Rex thing with a horn, like a like freaking black shell face with like a horn. And they'd be like, oh, well, I have this one. Looks like this. And then next thing you know, recess time, it would go down. I'd be like, here's, connect our little Digivices, battle. You gotta hit the little buttons, like, you'll see like one go across top to top. They'll hit each other. No one got points. Or you'd be lucky across the top, across the bottom, boom. But then you got lucky sometimes. You got a super attack that took both spots. Ah. And if you were horrible at it and you got the poop monster, as I called it, because we didn't know any Digimon names back then. There was no TV show. There was no cartoon. Okay? It was just poop monster. When the poop monster, if you got the poop monster, you might as well just reset your Digivice because you literally flung shit at people. But you weren't even powerful. You had like the lowest stats. Basically, you get the poop monster, you just fed it enough for it to survive, and you just cleaned enough poop where it wouldn't die or get sick. But it had no good stats. You didn't train it. So you had the lowest tier Digimon evolution. Now, if you got yourself like a Greymon, Metal Greymon, yeah, that's what you wanted. Or the Tyrannomon. Those are the ones you wanted. You just wanted to do everything possible to not get Poopmon. Because that's what we call them. We call them Poopmon. We were 11, okay? We didn't swear back then. South Park had just started airing, so like we weren't swearing. I mean, a couple months later, we were probably like Shitmon, but like we weren't swearing back in those days. But you got the Poopmon, you were screwed out of everything. So, I had my Digivice, and I attribute, like, I still have friends. Some of my friends, I still are the friends that I made playing Digimon on recess when I was 11, and I'm 35, okay? Digimon is attributed a big part of my life. Honestly, a lot of things I'm into have attributed, like Kamen Rider. Even right now, Kamen Rider, I have made a lot of friends recently in the last year or so or less that Kamen Rider fans, Ultraman Sentai fans, and I thank the internet for that, uh, because of how easy it is to find people who have similar interests. And I have friends that I like strictly over wrestling games, and that I'm still friends with after almost 14, 15 years, because we're when like a freaking Game FAQs message board about freaking WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2006 or 7, talking. Next thing you know, we're playing wrestling. I'm still friends with it. I met up with them at conventions. So like there's a lot. Like Digimon was a gateway to a lot of things, and like so weren't other games and this and that. And it's kind of cool, like looking back and thinking about that. Like I may have to do a nostalgia episode one day where I just bring on a few people and we just shoot the shit about old school, back in my day situations. And I drink Monster watermelon. But yeah, so that's it for games. Oh, but speaking of Digimon, I have been playing Digimon story. I believe I'm playing Cyber Sleuth for. I'm playing Cyber Sleuth on the Switch. Um, Obviously I've beaten Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory on PlayStation 4 and the Next Order. I was hoping the Next Order, well, that's more Digimon Adventure. Um, I was hoping Next Order would have been ported to the Switch, because they put, Hacker's Memory, Cyber Sleuth as a 2-pack on the Switch. I was kind of hoping they would have done that with Next Order, because Next Order was more true to the PlayStation 1 Digimon World game than anything else, but they haven't really done that. And speaking of, next week they are releasing Monster Rancher 1 and 2 like remasters on the Switch and Steam. No marketing, no advertising. And they're like, hey, did you know Monster? Actually, I'm gonna look it up right now because I can multitask. So they're like, did you know Monster Rancher is coming to the Switch? And I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, so Monster Hunter 1 and 2 DX is coming out on the Switch and PC. And it is coming out on the 9th of December. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, and I don't know. Um, so the cool thing is with this one, there is no like you okay. Monster Rancher was so cool because you got to put like the CD in your PlayStation, right? You would open the disc and put the CD in, close the disc. It would read the CD, then it'd be like open the tray, put the game disc back in, and then based on the CD you put in, you got a monster. And you better believe, because when that game came out, I was a youngling. I didn't have a lot of CDs. Okay, I had like, you know, like the Power Ranger movie soundtrack, or, you know, very mundane like Weird Al, like nothing inappropriate. My dad, my dad had CDs. He had a lot of CDs, a lot of country CDs, but he also liked Black Sabbath and AC/DC and all that Ozzy, all that stuff. So I was like, hey, I'd go in. Let me sneak one of these CDs real quick. Let me see what kind of monster I can get from some Alice Cooper and some Black Sabbath. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. And the fact that we're getting Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, and I'm looking at the main website right now, and you can see the reflection in my glasses of a monster being summoned. It's on a loop because it's a GIF or it's a GIF. I don't know which one it is. You decide. And I'm just like, man, I. Mm. Now, the one thing I will say is it does not seem to me that they kind of polish the graphics. Kind of. Um, this is definitely not a. I'm trying to think about how to word this properly. This is definitely not a remaster. Because it's still going to be the same resolution as the old school game. So it's going to be a square with like little things around on each side. So do not expect a remake or a remaster. This is definitely the OG game, just slightly polished. Um, you know what? I don't even care. I'm still gonna play this game, okay? And yeah, that looks good. But yeah, it's gonna be on Steam and the Switch coming out the 9th, which is gonna be I don't know what day that is, a Thursday. And I wonder how much it's gonna be. I don't think it's that expensive either because you get 2 games, and it's going to be. Come on, load faster. Why is my internet being garbage right now? Oh man, this thing is taking forever to freaking load. Like, I'm better off just like hitting price and just seeing it that way because this thing is not loading at all. And I don't know what's it's my internet. It's $30. That's not bad. $30 for 2 games. That's you're basically paying $15 each. Okay, that's decent for Monster Monster Rancher. I think I called it Monster Hunter at one point. My bad. Uh, but yeah, so gaming, just I'm all over the place honestly with my gaming. Like I've wanted there's some other games I want to dive back into that I've like finished, but it's just one of those things where it's like they're such good games. Like I want to dive back into Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I want to get back into Stardew Valley for some reason. Because God forbid I play Stardew Valley again. I didn't put that much, hours and hundreds of hours into that game, but I didn't want to play that again. Same with like Graveyard Keeper. I really want to get more into like back to like the farming style simulator games. Like I still need to play. I still need to. There's so many games I have to finish though, like Rune Factory 4, but 5 being delayed kind of, you know, push that back for me. But yeah, that's it for gaming. From the standpoint of like watching stuff, I've been watching a lot of Shudder. I have been like binge watching, like binge binging like so much stuff. Like um what was I binging? There's a Eli Eli Roth show on Shudder where he goes over different iconic like genres within horror, so like vampires, werewolves, ghosts, possession. Like it's such a really good series. Like the dream, man, is one day to have Eli Roth on like one of my horror podcast episodes. Like, cause the knowledge, like, it's not even about the knowledge that he has or just the quality of work he puts out. It's just how, no matter what interview, no matter what show you see him on, he just looks so, and sounds in his body language, so happy to just be talking about or being a part of the genre he loves. Which is why, like, hey, if I ever got the chance to, like, work on Toku stuff with other content creators, which I have, if you haven't already, I was on A Heroes Homemade with Proudhorn Heroes. I made Korean corn dogs. And it was a lot of fun, and that was, like, one of the highlights of the year for me. Um, but whether it was, like, Toku horror, if, like, I had the chance to, like, work with other content creators or platforms or like this and that, like I'd be the same way. I would just be so happy that I'm getting to talk about something I'm passionate about that I would just, you could tell someone's body language and this and that when they're like, they love what they're doing. But yeah. So yeah, that's, I've been binging that. Chucky season 1 just ended and all the episodes are now on Peacock. I kind of lost out on watching Chucky because I don't have cable TV, so I don't have USA or Sci-Fi, and I had the Sci-Fi app, but they only give you like 3 credits, and you need 1 credit per episode. So like, I didn't want to, I didn't want to not support the show and buy the episodes, but I didn't felt weird like spending money per episode on an 8 episode show. But now it's on Peacock, I'm going to binge watch that and do a full review of the whole season rather than episodes because I did the first 3 episodes, um, or the first 2 episodes. No, I think I did 3, and I was like, cool, it's only 8 episodes. That's, in my head, whenever I do a review or something like this, going back to the beginning of the podcast episode, I was like, okay, if this thing is 8 episodes, that's 8 videos. That's 8 episodes to review. That's 8 audio episodes for the Under Name Mark Reviews podcast. So there's 8 episodes right there. That's 8 videos for YouTube, and then an overall season review, which is number 9. So like I plan out the content number, but then I was like, after 3, I was like, well, I have to pay now to watch these, but I know it's gonna be put on a streaming platform when it's done. So I was like, I'll wait. And So I did. So now it's on Peacock because it just finished airing 2 days ago. Was the season finale. They already said it's getting a second season next year, which I cannot wait. And if there's anybody, you wanna put me in the show, I could be murdered very well. I'm very murderable, if that's a word. So if you want to put me in Chucky season 2, I have a murderable face. I have a face for murder, and it would be kind of cool. Did I really say murderable? That's not even a word. That's, But yeah, it's on Peacock, so it's like if you haven't already and you have Peacock, go check that show out. It is so good. The first 3 episodes were just phenomenal, and I would say, and I do believe the first 2 episodes are still on YouTube, so definitely check those out. But it's on Peacock. You can stream it anytime. So I'm going to be binge watching that. I watched a 6 hour and 40-minute documentary on Friday the 13th from film franchise. That was eye opening. I watched, like I said, because I am planning a full feature length documentary, and I am planning a docu series. And I'm also planning a mockumentary because I like the idea of mockumentaries so much. So because I'm planning them, like I'm watching. I watch documentaries and stuff like that all the time, anyways. Sorry, interjection. It's from the monster. So instead, I'm going to combat it with a Coke Zero Sugar. A lot of product placement, and no one's paying me, by the way. Of course not. But so I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff like that, anyways. And now, like when I'm watching them to enjoy them because obviously I like the source, like the material that it's on. But I'm also watching for like how the editing, like I'm finding myself now dissecting how they're presented and how they're edited and put together, like transitions, this now voiceovers when it's happening. Because doing my own, I'm not like trained in this. Like when I was in college and I had my electives, I did take some film classes, but it was I never got to the actual filming side of things. I made it because by the time I ended up changing majors, at the time my electives I took like film study and appreciation, film theory, and stuff like that. I didn't get into the actual filming yet. So from the analyzing standpoint, I'm good on that because that's what I took 3 college courses on, and then I didn't get to do the actual behind the camera production stuff. So I'm being more meticulous when I watch these docu series and I set to try and like pick up on what they are actually doing, so I could be like, okay, so that's a nice trick. That's even down to like when they have certain people on camera that are like guest speakers and this and that, having how their lower third shows up, where it's showing up on the screen, how they're going from scene to scene, how when there's a break, and this and that. Like, so I'm taking notes on all of it because I'm just like, okay, this will be cool. And it's like very janky notes, by the way. It's like me drawing a square and like arrows pointing, and then like a little swoopy, like, okay, that this swoops in like that. Hold it for 3 seconds, then a dissolve transition over to the next scene, or we're gonna do a fade into another scene. Like, it's ridiculous how much notes and how like crazy, because like realistically these projects I'm working on maybe spring next year because the lease is going to be up, going to find a new apartment in the next couple months. But it's one of those things where it's like I need everything like not scripted out but broken down storyboard style, getting all the proper clips and this and that ahead of time, so I have everything in place to piece these together properly. So it's going to be a while before they come out. But yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm watching lately, outside of like movies, like in the norm stuff, it's like, all right, let me watch documentaries. There's docu-series, full-length documentaries, mockumentaries. I'm just so I can get an idea of the stylization of doing a documentary, because it's one thing to want to do one and just I don't want it to be a thing where it's just a whole bunch of clips and this and that are muted with me just talking over it. Like that's I don't know how to word it because I know a lot of people who do this, but honestly, it's lazy. It's lazy. You know, there's no production. It's like, oh, let me piece together all these things, and then while it's going, I'm just gonna ramble and talk over all this information that is just on a Wikipedia page. Like that's not a documentary. That's not even like when people do like, oh, the history of such and this show or the history of this character, and it's like cool, and it's just clips of that character, and they're just voicing over, and you could tell verbatim they're just looking at the Wikipedia page, reading it like a teleprompter, and it's like that's not effort. There, like probably spent more time illegally downloading those clips and piecing it together and rendering the video than you did actually putting effort into producing the video. And that's not shots fired. That's not me personally attacking anybody. But if you feel like that is your content, and I'm kind of, that seems like that's what you're doing, then I might be talking about you. Or you just might realize that maybe you're just dialing it in and you're not putting effort in. And that's why I'm putting so much effort into it. And yes, like all the other stuff I'm working on seems to be kind of mundane, not really game changing, like my reaction reviews and this that. I'm not right now. A lot of stuff I'm doing because I love it and I'm having fun, but it's not breaking the mold. It's nothing that's actually like pushing my boundaries as a creator, and it's not me being lazy. It's just that's what works. While I'm working on other things that are going to be more time consuming, where I can put the energy into those things. So, what are you doing? The kitten's being rude. But yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. This was a long episode, honestly, for just talking. So yeah, we're getting there. We're almost at 100 episodes. I can't believe it, honestly. Like we're almost 100 episodes. At the time of recording this, I'm about to hit 250 subs on YouTube, which is crazy because I feel like I just hit 200. I know it's small numbers, I know, but for someone who's not, you know, creating content in large quantities and large doses, and even with the podcast, doing these video versions of it, as long as like the audio ones have always been around, but doing even video ones right now, it's like one of those things where I'm like, okay, like I, it's even the numbers on the video ones, I know they're not drastic. They're not high numbers in the snap because I do like literally 99% of my like audience is listening to this on audio. And there's a small, minute number that is watching the videos. And I appreciate everybody who watches the videos. It's just, I wanted another avenue, another place to have this content. And like when I have a lot of comic books and, stuff to talk about, I want to be able to show you, you know? So, whew, my dinner, by the way, a little sidebar before I do some housekeeping and end the episode. So I was like, hey, I'm hungry after my stream. I was like, let me get some Uber Eats. Load up Uber Eats. Obviously, because it's Friday night, there's no deals on Uber Eats. Uber Eats, what's the deal? No deals, no free delivery on spending X amount or more. Like, what are you doing to me? Like, usually, if I want some Uber Eats, I'm like, oh, spend $18 or more, free delivery. And I'm like, ooh, free delivery. Nothing. You guys gave me nothing. Then you guys are like, hey, you want to save? You want to save $2.58 on your order? Sign up for this Uber Pass. It's $10. And I'm like, so I'm going to spend $10 to save $2. So I'm really only out of the whole $7.64 or 66 cents. No. So regardless, I ordered some Dave's hot chicken because that shit is delicious. And I was like, let me get the 2 sliders and fries with the Dave sauce. Mind you, I forgot when you order the combo, you get the Dave sauce. Now, mind you, the Dave sauce is only 29 cents extra. So I had 2 Dave sauces. But, I'm picking, they're like fries. They got a little seasoning on the fries. It almost reminds me of the steak fry seasoning from like Red Robin. And they're like, oh, you want some sliders? I was like, I'm going to do 2 sliders and french fries. And I'm looking, they're like, hey, pick your heat level. And I'm like, looking down the list, I'm like, okay, newborn, toddler, child, teenager, spicy, hot, very hot, reaper. Oh, by the way, the first ones I made up, it was like mild, medium, like hot. It's not like baby, toddler, stuff like that. But I that's what I attribute it to because they're not spicy at all. Now, as someone just tried the reaper, has some good flavor, has a little heat to it, but I wasn't feeling it because I was hungry. So I got super hot, 2 of them. And, then I'm like, oh, do I want anything inside? I'm like, no. I was like, I'm kind of lazy. I'm thirsty. I'll do the Coke Zero. So Uber Eats not running any deals. They got their little like service fees and all delivery fees and this and that. And I'm kind of mad because Dave's Hot Chicken isn't that far. But the meal I got was like $16. After fees, tip, and everything else, I spent close to $30. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have a little bit of indigestion. I have a little bit of heartburn going on right now. And that's why I keep kind of doing little burp, little bit of air pockets, bubbles getting stuck in the esophagus. But man, Uber Eats, you need to run more deals on Friday nights, okay? I also waited like 40 minutes for my food, which was horrible. But at the same time, I was lazy. So I ordered Uber Eats, and I love them because they're convenient. But that being said, that's it. That was just a sidebar because, man, that food, it was so good, though. That was so delicious. Honestly, like, it was so good. But that's besides the point. Thanks for hanging out, listening to me, watching this, or listening on all your podcasting platforms. A Nerd Named Mark podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Podcast Republic, freaking Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, by the way. More people, if you have iHeartRadio, listen on iHeartRadio. I've seen the numbers coming back. The Spotify listenership has increased tenfold. My Apple Podcast listening is going up. I noticed my Google Podcast listens still the same, but I get it because basically if you're on an Android device, you still have all these other apps. Like Apple and Google are 2 separate ones, so those are on their own, but Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. on all OSs. So if you're by iHeartRadio, like I like the numbers are good, but if you want, go check it out on iHeartRadio. And the Spotify numbers are really good too, so I really appreciate that. Especially with the Spotify Wrapped showing up everywhere. It's like, yeah, no, it's. I saw the numbers and I was like, okay, I'm pleased. I've never been heavily focused on the numbers, but I will say now that I've actually checked the analytics fully on it, I was genuinely shocked and surprised. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, so you can find that on all. Don't forget to look up A Nerd Named Mark reviews for all your quick, bite-sized, delicious, quick episodes. I always tell everyone, hey, if you're going to go take a poop, you can go listen to A Nerd Named Mark reviews, and by the time you're done, you'll have a whole review of an episode or a movie already listened to, and you already, boom. You're just sitting there. Might as well, check out. Hey, you're curious about this show? You want to watch it? I wonder how the first episode is. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch it. You sit down, drop your pants, sit on the toilet, then you just hit A Nerd Named Mark reviews, and you're like, oh, 7-minute audio review of Chucky episode 1. I think I got 7 minutes to spare right now. I drank 2 cups of coffee and had some carbs for breakfast. I'm gonna be at least on this toilet for at least 11 minutes. I'll listen to the podcast. And then you go ahead, you listen to it while you're pooping. And next thing you know, by the time you're done, you're flushing, wiping, and you're like, you know what? I was like, that was a good review. I think I'm going to go actually jump on YouTube or Peacock and watch episode 1 of Chucky the series because Mark made it sound like it's really good. And I trust him because very rarely do I trust anybody to have their voice in my ear while my cheeks are on the seat. And then, you know what? I'll be like, oh. And then you could tell me, like, hey, listen to your podcast while I pooped. Checked out that show. You were right. I appreciate it. And then I'm like, you know what? I appreciate you trusting me enough to have my sweet sounding voice in your ears while your bare ass cheeks are on a toilet seat. So you are a good person. You are trustworthy. You are a gentleman and a scholar. And I thank you. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see when more videos go live. I have a lot of content going on. I'm trying to now that I'm in a better mood. I'm loosening up a lot more. The year's winding down. Everything's coasting now to be just good time of year. I'm in a good mood. So make sure you subscribe to see more videos. I got Toku reviews. I got reaction videos. I got nano blocks because I'm building nano blocks. I'm about to, because I already downloaded it, my Twitch VOD. I'm going to be cutting that up and putting that on YouTube so you could see the various nano blocks I built and whatnot because it's very convenient having it done that way. And yeah, I thank you guys for watching and listening to episode 94 of Nerd Name Mark podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd. And then this is the part where the outro music plays, and it's like, dun, 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 dun. But yeah, now the music's gonna start playing. Not me playing, like making the music noise. Now the music's gonna play. So I thank you guys for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next episode.